On this episode of Animal Diaries, we take a look at some of our alligator snapping turtles, helping our box turtles fight off infection, and we look at some old footage when I first started to learn about wildlife. Turtles are one of my favorite reptiles. I've been rescuing and caring for turtles ever since I was little, and they come in all different shapes, sizes, and have their own unique design to each of them. Alright guys, we're back in the reptile room, and today we're going to be checking out some of our turtles. Now this is one you can actually see in the background from last time. This is Tara, and she's a Diamondback terrapin. And I'm going to take her out real quick. As you can see, she's very happy, very excited. She comes right up to the glass for food often. Hello Tara. How are you? Come here, baby. Hello. All the water off you. And here she is. So this is Tara. Diamondback terrapin. They're a really special turtle species. They've got a white face and they can have all kinds of different patterns. Oh, you're opening your mouth. It's not feeding time. She's very, very food happy, and she'll bite at anything if she thinks it's food. In fact, she's bit me a couple times and not let go thinking that I'm actually food. She's not aggressive or mean by any sense, but she doesn't recognize what is food and what isn't. And it's really sad that they've kind of been wiped out in this area that I'm from. And it's mostly from fishing, mostly nets that they'll get drowned in, trout lines. They basically get completely ruined by any kind of heavy fishing and netting in an area, and that's why we don't see these guys anymore. But in certain areas there are still plenty of these turtles, so hopefully we'll get to see them in the wild very soon. But yeah, this is Tara, very special little turtle, and they've got a really cool shell pattern. That's why they're called a Diamondback terrapin, because sometimes they'll have a diamond pattern, and they kind of are the shape of normal sliders, like a red ear or something like that. It's kind of a normal turtle shape. So, very cool. She's got up here her filter, her gravel. I keep fishing her tank for her to catch. And she's got a UV light and a little thing for her to go sit on. So here you go, baby. She's got a nice little setup. She might be one day put out in an outdoor enclosure, but for now she's really enjoying her tank setup here. And she's really healthy. Alright, so this is actually our soft shell setup. I've got 3 soft shells in here, 2 Spiny soft shells, and 1 Florida soft shell. I'm going to go ahead and take one of them out real quick. I don't think I'll take the Florida out because he's very, very skittish and he doesn't like being held. Let's see, I've got 2 Spinies in here, and one of them is very friendly and the other is very spooky. Here you are. Ta-da! How are you? Yay! So I've had these guys basically since they were the size of little hatchlings, and they're very, very cool. They're kind of like freshwater sea turtles. If you look at their little flippers, it's a very, very cool species, and they've got a bite kind of like a tiny snapping turtle. They've got a really sharp beak, and they're an absolutely awesome turtle to take care of, and their shell is soft. It's kind of like leather. See that? It's still very tough, however, it's something that can be bit into, so their main defense against predators is actually camouflage, digging, and their speed. And they can actually run almost as fast as a person on land, which is pretty crazy, and if they get into the water, they're basically gone. They've got a little pig nose, and it kind of works like a snorkel, so they'll stick that up, get air, and bring it back down. It's a really cool turtle species. I'm going to go ahead and put this little guy up, and we're going to get to our last turtle in here. Here you go, bud. Alright, we've got 1 turtle left in here, and that's this guy. This is my common snapping turtle. And he actually doesn't have a name yet, and if you guys have any good name suggestions, let me know. He's a very cute guy. I've had him since before we started the channel. And I'm going to go ahead and get him out too. I keep him up top because he does pretty well up there. And he's got a smaller tank, but one day he's going to be really, really big. In fact, he's going to have to go in an outdoor setup eventually. Hello, buddy. No. I already fed you today. Alright, well, this is my common snapping turtle. And he is very, very cute. He's a few years old now, and he's grown really, really well. However, just like any other snapping turtle, he will try to bite me. And they've got a really, really strong bite, as many of you know. And everything about this turtle is kind of looks like a little dragon. They've got a big long tail, a very sharp beak, sharp claws, and a really tough shell. Now when they're kept in captivity like this, they actually have a very, very different coloration, and I call it a blonde coloration. If you see the belly, it's kind of a whitish color, and the top is a clean brown, and in the wild they'll sometimes turn solid black because of all the mud and gunk that they live in, basically. And this turtle's not going to have that because it's lived in perfectly clean water its entire life. Oh, look at his little mouth. Hello. Yeah, he doesn't like being touched too much, and he will definitely bite me, but he loves food. That's one of his favorite things is when I feed him, and he eats quite a bit. He'll eat a couple times a day if I let him, and as you can see, he's very fat, and he's been growing really good. It's just a very special little turtle. One day, very long time from now, he's going to need to go in an outdoor enclosure and a little tub. But enough about this little guy. Let's go and check out some of his bigger cousins that we actually have outside, alligator snapping turtles. Hello, little buddy. Have a look at this little guy. His name is Kuwei, and he's a small male alligator snapping turtle. He's very cool. Whoop. It's alright, buddy. It's alright. Look at that mouth. As you can see, this guy has got a pretty big mouth for such a small turtle. Alligator snapping turtles are a really cool species. Not one that I find often. In fact, I found my first one this summertime, as you guys saw in one of our videos. This one's much smaller. Last time I weighed him, he was only like 3.5 pounds. He is really little. But they don't grow very fast, but their first stage in life is their fastest growing stage. He's probably going to grow to about 15 to 20 pounds before his growth starts really slowing down. Mostly eats fish, but he also really likes shrimp. I'm going to put this guy up. So yeah, that's our first little alligator snapping turtle. That was the first one I ever got. And this is the second one. This one is notably bigger. It's about 20 pounds. This one is also a male. Hello, little fella. How are you? This one's very placid, very calm. Rarely opens its mouth when I pick it up. It's very sweet. I named it, but I keep forgetting its name, so I'm probably going to have to rename it something that I'm going to remember. Probably something simple like Bowser, something like that, but it's a very cool turtle. And this one's also a male, so I've got 2 male alligator snapping turtles. And we're definitely going to want to get a female at some point, because alligator snapping turtles are a species that are going to need some kind of conservation help in the wild. A lot of people do breed these guys successfully. However, very few people are actually releasing them back into the wild. And that's something I'd like to get going for these guys. This one is definitely a little bit heavier to hold. And what's really crazy is these guys will actually walk around under the ice. A couple weeks ago, we actually had a pretty decent freeze, and the water froze over in their cage. And you might think, well, they're turtles, they're cold-blooded, that's got to be pretty rough. But their metabolism is so slow, it barely even affected them. In fact, it was frozen over in their cage, and they were walking around under the ice, which is pretty sick. So it's a very dark-colored one, and has a little bit of algae on its back, but not too much. Healthy claws, and just an overall healthy turtle. And I've had these guys for a while now, but the first alligator snapping turtle we got to film was back in the summertime, and I'm still hoping to film a larger alligator snapping turtle. This is the largest one that I've ever gotten to hold, but hopefully this summer we'll be able to find some larger ones, and I might even be able to get a female for some kind of breeding operation with these guys. That would be very cool. These tubs are very simple, nothing large, but alligator snapping turtles don't need a lot of space to do really well. However, I would like to get something nicer for them in the future, but that's not right now. Right now they're doing really good. They both look really healthy, and I'll give you guys more updates on them in the future, but they're looking really good right now. I've been raising box turtles since I was about 7 or 8 years old, and they can live almost to be 100 years old. In the wild, these turtles are run over by cars and killed by lawnmowers constantly. So I work on breeding box turtles in hopes of getting them back out into the wild. Alright, so here we have the box turtle enclosure. Got a couple of them out right now. I don't want too many of them out though because it is winter time. They're not super active because it is winter time right now, but today was nice and sunny, so a couple of them did come out and sun themselves and warm up. And I only give them a little bit of food in the winter time because most of the time they can be brumating, which is basically their kind of form of hibernation. Got one there, one there. There are a bunch of box turtles in here. In fact, most of them are going to be in this. Sweetie. This one's kind of out. Oh, have a look at this one. She's kind of under the palm tree. She was sticking her head out. This one is a female. Hey, sweetie. Just hiding in the oak leaves. There you go. Have a look at that little fella. Very cute. Now, most of these are 3-toed box turtles. I believe there might be 1 or 2 Gulf Coasts in here. But there's about 16 in here total, not including babies. Yep. The cage is pretty simple. Cinder blocks that just kind of keep them in. And I've got a little electric fence that goes around. Alright, so this, I'm just going to lift this for a little bit because I don't want to disturb them too much. But this is where most of them are right now. So So here we've got a couple of them. They're actually pretty out right now. It's a couple of the females. Hello. And what's crazy is if you look at this, there's more box turtles under the shavings. Most of them, this is what they should be doing right now, is brumating. And they're basically going to stay completely dormant for most of the winter, the ones that are buried. These ones are just active because it did get a little bit sunny today. So cover them up. But yeah, there's a bunch of them kind of stacked up in this little area right here. Make sure that I don't close it on top of you. So yeah, this is the box turtle pen. It's still winter time, so most of them aren't out. But this spring, we're going to get to see all of them out and about. And feeding them is a real pleasure. Put a little plate of food in here. They mostly eat vegetables and all kinds of different little fruits. And they also will dig around through the shavings and eat worms. And sometimes I'll even give them crickets to eat in here. So it's a really nice setup for this many box turtles. They've got their little pool, palm tree, and plenty of stuff to bury down in. So yeah, they're pretty special. Every winter, box turtles bury down and brumate for the winter. But if they don't, they can get very, very sick. Luckily for these turtles, I can give them just what they need to be able to boost their immune system and get back to perfect health in no time. Alright, so this is something that I have to do every single winter time, and that is some little medical help for the turtles. See, one thing is, box turtles are supposed to brumate during the winter time. They're not supposed to be active, and when they come out, basically when it's really, really warm, a warm winter day like 70 degrees and sunny, these guys will come out, but then the next night it'll get down into the 30s, and they'll kind of get caught in that cold weather before going and burying, and oftentimes they can get sick because of it. This one right here is a little bit of an eye infection. As you can see, this eye is fine and one eye is not. So what I've got is little eye drops, and I'm going to give this to her. I've been giving these to her twice a day on one eye, and they can get a respiratory infection, they can get an eye infection, and they can also get an ear infection. I've got different drops and different medicines depending on what they get. This little baby, she got a full-blown respiratory infection last year. In fact, that's why I have her, is because she was found sick. But these really help. These help very, very quickly. They help within a week normally. And I've got another one over here. There's two right now that are having some issues. This one has a full-blown respiratory infection, which I've got another bit of medicine I'm going to give her soon, but right now I'm just going to give her the eye drops. The thing about the respiratory infection is they start off normally entering through the eyes or the ears, and as you can see, her eyes are very, very swollen, and her nose is very runny. And I can already tell that she's got a respiratory infection, but what it can turn into is pneumonia, which that can easily kill reptiles, especially if they're not in captivity. However, since we do have them, if they ever do get pneumonia, what we can do is give them penicillin, and penicillin almost instantly clears that up. However, it's something that I don't like doing for the turtles because that means they've already been sick for quite some time. So I'm hoping that she's going to get through this. This is very normal for my box turtles, unfortunately, that this is something that happens, and the ways that you would prevent this is actually having a constant heat source throughout the winter time, like having a heat lamp out here for them to warm up to where they don't get sick. And unfortunately, I don't have that out here. I don't have any electrical wires running to here, so I'm not able to do that right now. I am going to want to do that in the future to where these guys can stay healthy even in the winter time. This is something that in the wild box turtles deal with quite often, and it's something that I have to help them get through every single year. Once again, only a couple of them get it, only ones with very, very weakened immune systems, and oftentimes very old turtles will get this. Once it warms up, these turtles are going to be doing a lot better, and hopefully their immune systems will be fully bounced back by then, and they'll be back at 100%. So I'll definitely keep you guys updated on how these two specifically are doing. Alright guys, we're going to take a look at my room real quick. There's a couple of things in here I'd like to show you guys. So this is my room, got a couple of things in here. We're not going to cover him, but Momo is actually taking a nap in the corner right here. He's just sleeping. As you know, possums are nocturnal. I don't want to cover him or disturb him. Oh. Hey buddy. So as you can see, he's sleeping, but we're not going to mess with him while he's up. No, don't wake up. Back to sleep. So yeah, he's very cute. So here's my workstation over here. Got my computer, some important stuff on it. Do a lot of work on my computer. And my little desk where I've got all my books and animal stuff. Coda's running around somewhere over here. Coda is my pet rabbit. He's unlike all my other animals. He's not an education animal or even a rescue. He's just my pet rabbit. and we'll probably take him out in a second. But what I want to take a look at are these two snakes right here. I'm going to take a look at you real quick. This is my Louisiana milk snake. There she is. Her name is Bullet. It's alright, sweetie. It's alright. She doesn't really like me too much. This is a very large Louisiana milk snake. This is one of my favorite snake species, and they're becoming increasingly rare in the state of Louisiana. You know, it's rough when the Louisiana milk snake is more commonly found actually in Texas. So these snakes are actually going to need some conservation assistance within my lifetime, and that's one thing I've got to work on with these snakes, is actually learning how to breed them. Now, we believe that Bullet is a large female, and she's absolutely beautiful. One of my favorite snake species, and I don't want to hold her for too long, so I'm going to go ahead and put her up real quick. Here you go, sweetie. Alright, I'm going to close this and get to the next snake. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the second snake that I've got in my room. This has got a little bit of a different setup. Hey, buddy! Now, this is another milk snake species, but this is actually a color variant. This is a Sinaloan milk snake. Hello, little buddy. I believe that this is a male, and he doesn't actually have a name yet, and he is a het albino Sinaloan milk snake. Now what that means is he's actually half albino, so instead of having bands like a normal milk snake, he actually came out with this color morph where it's kind of like a striped variant. He still has the red, black, and white, but it's just in a different pattern. He's a very derpy little snake, and he's got an interesting personality. He's actually very shy, and he's very scared of movement, which is kind of funny for an animal that normally hunts based on movement. And he's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. He's grown a little bit since I've got him, but I haven't actually had him for too long, about 1.5 years now. And he's a pretty awesome snake, really great for educational stuff, very sweet animal, and definitely doesn't bite whatsoever. And normally I don't keep a lot of color morph snakes, but this is a really good example of how a het albino snake can actually create all kinds of different colorations. So it's a really cool example of that. Alright, so now we're going to check out probably the least impressive animal enclosure that I have. This is actually Coda's cage. It's basically just a little tray with wire over it. And this is normally what he just sleeps in, but as you can see, he's not actually in it right now. He actually spends a lot of time under my bed, so I'm going to have to go ahead and get him out for us. Alright, so let's see. He'll probably jump in his cage. What are you doing, bud? Oh, I see you. Come on. Go. Oh, he's over there. Go. Oh, there we go. You went in his cage. There you go. That was perfect. How you doing, little buddy? Come here. Hello, little buddy. How are you doing? This is Coda. We showed him in a past video, and really, he's just my pet rabbit. He spends a lot of time out of his little cage, because clearly it's pretty small, and he spends a lot of time under there. I've got a bunch of cardboard boxes for him to chew on, and he's very, very sweet, very, very handleable, and this would actually be called a Rex rabbit. I know he's got a coloration like a normal wild rabbit, but this is very much so a domesticated rabbit, and he's a little boy. His name is Coda, which actually means friend in a certain dialect of Indian, which, you know, just the name that I'd give my pet. He's a very sweet little guy, very soft. Rex rabbits are a very soft breed of rabbit. I'm gonna go ahead and put this little guy down. Here you go, under the bed. Get. So he's gonna go back to whatever he was doing down there. And this is what I really wanted to show you guys in here. So these are some of the first bug cases that I ever made, and this is how I actually started learning about wildlife. Was actually insects, bugs, arachnids, all the different ones. This is actually the second case that I ever made, and it's got some really special bugs in it. It's got a, as you can see, cow killer right there. This is actually a male cow killer, the ones with the wings. This is a cicada killer, huge hornet. And this is actually something really cool. It's a green carpenter bee. We actually never locked down exactly what species that was, and not even a couple of the professionals that we actually showed it to had no idea what it was. And we still to this day aren't sure if it's a color variant, a young version of the carpenter bee, or an actually new species. So it'll be cool to see or learn about what that actually is in the future. But this is one of my favorite cases. There we go. Be really fragile with that, and this is what I want to show you. This was actually the first bug case that me and my dad put together, and this thing is really special to me. It's starting to deteriorate just a little bit. I've even replaced a couple of the bugs in it, And this is a really special case for me. In fact, these are two of the first bugs that I put into the case. And this is, to me, is kind of some history because this is how I started. And I think I was either 7 or 8 when I got this. And it's very cool. In fact, I've even got footage of when I was younger with some of these bug cases. This was me just when I was only 7 years old talking about my bug collection. I could have told you what almost every single bug was and at least something about them. When I was young, I was mostly just interested in bugs and a few different reptiles. But as I've grown, I've branched out into wanting to learn about pretty much every animal. But this is how it starts for most people. Becoming interested in bugs is what set me on the course to learn and care about other animals.
Why do you like bugs?
They can fly, they can jump, they can run, they can camouflage, and they can also hide, and they can also hunt for other things.
Is that why you like bugs?
They have proboscises, teeth, and also they drink nectar. They do all kinds of things.
Okay, now tell me about some of the bugs that you have.
This is a walking stick, and walking sticks look like these, but these are like water scorpions. They're not the scorpions that sting you. They don't bite or sting. And the walking stick camouflages in the trees. And crane flies look like big mosquitoes that I used to call them, but they're actually crane flies. And also, the Japanese beetle I found it under my door, and if you find it underneath your door, then you might want to pick it up and put in a bucket.
Why is that?
Because they're really tiny. They can go underneath your door, and if you don't know they can eat your food, they might. And that is a grasshopper, and this is the American bird grasshopper. They're both the same, but they're different but they have different names.
And to think, this smart, talented child would have never guessed he'd be making YouTube videos and getting demonetized almost a decade later. Well, that's it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. We finally got to show you all of our turtles in one video. The alligator snapping turtles seem to be doing really good right now, and all the turtles in the reptile room are looking awesome. Now, the box turtles are going to need some attention right now because a couple of them are out sick right now, but with some good attention and I think with some treatment inside, they'll be doing a lot better within a couple of weeks. So that'll be good to show you guys soon. Really hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys next time.